Welcome to the To Your Success podcast, hosted by Christer Johnson and Elin Solheim. Each weekly episode takes a deep dive into how success and freedom is created and how you can start living the life you truly want now. Christer was top CEO of international companies for more than 20 years. He's done business in most parts of the world. Now he is an international success mentor, helping people and organizations to be successful. Elin and Christer are partners in life and business. They truly live what they teach every day. They sail their beautiful 43-footer around the world while helping clients all over the world. They are proof that you can get all the freedom you've ever wanted. They truly live what they teach every single day.
Warm welcome everyone to episode 17 of the To Your Success podcast. I am mentor Christer Johnson, and with me today
I am Elin Solheim, as always, your wife and business partner in crime.
Yes. Well, we don't do very much crime. We are very, very legal, I would say, but absolutely
we do more business
in our business. Mm-hmm. And so warm welcome everyone. How are you today, Elin?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And when we record this, it is actually weekend. It is Sunday, and we just had my kids on a visit for coffee and your wonderful cinnamon rolls, your fresh, warm cinnamon rolls. And so we had a great family time for some hours today. And now we're recording this podcast. And a lot of things happen in my family, actually. So one thing is that my son Andreas is moving back to Miami, where he has stayed he studied there for 5 years. He worked there for a year. He has been expat in Norway for about a year, and now he's moving back to stay in Miami and work there. And Maria, my daughter, and her husband, they are having a child actually. So the family grows. It's just wonderful times.
You're gonna be a
grandpa. As always, change all the time. Mm-hmm.
We talked a little bit about that, because when a new child comes into this world, it just rearranges the whole family's system. Then suddenly, who's your son, who is a brother, and now he is an uncle. So a new role for him. You used to be a father, now you will be a grandfather.
Yeah.
It's a new role for you. So just this little baby changes everything.
Yeah, well, he's not here yet, but he's on his way. And it changes a lot. It changes more than I expected, actually. I have always said that, well, I relate to them when they come out, these wonderful small kids. Now I feel more and more that they relate to the process as well. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's great fun. It's great fun to observe myself. Mm-hmm. And it's great fun also to see how happy Maria and her husband is. So that's good. So today we're actually going to talk about living the dream. Mm-hmm. And how that is done. And we're also going to share some of our dreams and how we use this and how we work with this every day.
Can I say, what was your dream?
My first dream? Mm-hmm. I have to go far back. You know, I have always been this curious kid that drove my parents and my environment crazy with all these questions. I remember when I was very early, I was a Boy Scout. I was a Boy Scout for almost 10 years. We were at a summer camp, southern Norway. We were sleeping outside the tents on a small island very close to the sea. And I remember I woke up and looked up on all the stars, and there were a lot of comets and, you know, all these, what do you call them? When you see that they burn up in the atmosphere. Yeah, a lot of the stars and all that. And I already there, I guess I was 13 years old maybe, I was wondering what is behind the stars. What is this universe about? I always liked to make my own money and to earn my own money. So I started working very early. I was 11, 12, I think I was 10 years old. The first time I spent one of my school holidays picking potatoes on a field in a nearby farm. And then during summertime, I was also then harvesting strawberries, and I love strawberries. always love that. So the challenge for me was not to eat it all. And then I delivered newspapers and all that. So I guess financial freedom has always been important for me, to have the freedom to spend my own money and to make my own money. Then when I started studying at university, and I finalized my master's degrees in economics and management, I remember that I said that before I'm 40 years old, I want to be CEO of a large international group. And I became that when I was 34. And then I was that for some years, but I always worked internationally. Then I had kids and all that, and I started dreaming about sailing around the world, right? And that I grew up sailing. Mom and dad always sailed. Dad and I sailed regattas together, competitions together. We won some of them, we lost most of them, but sometimes we won, and some really big one we won as well in our class. And I started sailing when I was 7 years old. My own small dinghy, what we in Norway called an optimist jolle. I started to sail that. I had my own surfboard, like sailing windsurfing board. So I always sailed. The dream about sailing around the world came when I was around 40 years old. I was actually at that time starting to not feeling too comfortable in the corporate world, and I had to continue doing that. I felt that I had to continue doing that.
I always thought that dream came early on.
To sail around the world?
I didn't know that it was so late.
No, it came actually through a Swedish bank director who retired, and he bought a boat. He and his wife bought a boat. Mortensson was his name. He was chief in Handelsbanken, I think. And they bought a Hallberg Russi boat, and they sail around the world, and they brought camera on board. So they recorded everything in cooperation with a newspaper. And well, their boat was Jagan, which is a beautiful Hallberg Russi 62.
We have seen that.
We have seen that, but that was the inspiration. The first time I saw that, I said, well, I can do this too. I want to do this too. And that is when I started transitioning from motorboats, because we had motorboats, you know. My ex-wife and our kids, we always spent like 3-4 weeks every summer on the Swedish coast or the Norwegian coast. We live where we live. We can easily choose if we want to go to Sweden or Norway on boat trips. So we had a very nice motorboat, but then that started the transition process of me transitioning back to sailing. And then so I think I was around 40 years old when that picture came in my mind, that maybe 38, 39 years old. And then I served 1 year in the Norwegian Coast Guard when I was 22, 23 years old. So I was kind of, grew up sailing, used to the sea, and then I was out on in the wild ocean. We were sailing in legally into Russia. I've been to Svalbard a couple of times. We sailed with the Coast Guard. We sailed to Iceland. And I've been out in shitty weather, and I knew a lot of, I learned a lot of seamanship from that time. But no, I think that dream came when I was like 38, 39 years old. And then I started studying deliberate creation. Dr. Robert Anthony has some wonderful books, and he taught me, I taught from that create this image in your mind of your dream life. And the picture that took me through for many, many years, I would say it took me through because it was a time when I struggled. I went through a divorce, which was a sad time. And there was struggle, mainly that I felt the need for changing and transitioning out of the corporate world, but I didn't dare. So I felt very, very stuck. I write that in my book as well. I felt like a tiger in a cage. I was kept inside, and I have such big appetite for life. How far can I go? How far can we go? So, but the planning of the trip started there. And then the picture I had in my mind was me standing on this perfect, beautiful sailboat, leaving our hometown and just sail out. And then the perfect wind, the perfect weather, and then that feeling of just releasing everything and then just leave everything. I am free. And that picture is still with me. You know, and it was with me when we left Norway sailing too. So
you can actually say that the circumstances of your life made you dream.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good comment. Yeah, absolutely. I when I see it backwards, it's like I don't come from a business family. I come from a family with public servants. My grandparents and my parents and my sister, they are more or less public servant. They can work in that area. Mom and dad, I grew up in that environment. Then why did I started studying business and creating my financial freedom? Maybe that is the path I'm supposed to do. I still have this enormous, you know that, Elin, I still have this enormous drive for sailing. Every time I struggle, it's like when things don't go as planned or I get afraid or anything like that, I just have this, okay, let's just go. You know, sell this house and go. I don't want to do that, but it's like, using the imagination, and Jagan and those movies with the Mortensen couple, they started that, you know, and I actually wanted to sail exactly the same places they sail, but that is not allowed anymore. They sailed to Cape Horn, which is allowed, but they also sailed to Antarctica, Elephant Island, and all those, the archipelago on that side of Antarctica. But we are not allowed to do that. There were some other Norwegian sailors that misbehaved and lost their boat, and some people died. And after that, that is not allowed anymore, unfortunately.
Well, it's still possible, isn't it? You just have to enter someone else's boat.
Yes, you can sail on a boat with a permit, like a cruising permit, like that. But but I wanted to sail there by myself.
Yeah, I know.
So, and the point with telling about this picture of me about leaving the home harbor and just out in the open sea in this perfect wind, the perfect sail, everything is perfect, everything is effortless. I just leave everything, right? Finally I'm free, is that I used my imagination. And I created that picture in my mind, and that has clearly been a goal. If you look at my development and finally then leaving the corporate world, and I was so afraid leaving the corporate world, you know that, Elin. I was so afraid that when I resigned from the job, and I had a wonderful job working for fantastic owners, then I said, I'm so afraid sending this email that you have to sit next to me. You had to be my really strong accountability partner, which I'm very grateful that you were at that time. So, but again, it is using your imagination. And we often say that your mindset must be stronger than your feelings. It is this choice between what you want now and what you want most. And, you know, when we met, I said, you know, I'm going to sail around the world, and if you don't want to join me, then we cannot be. Then we cannot be together, right? Because it is. And I'm still going to sail around the world, and we are on a good way now. When we record this, the boat is in Gibraltar. The boat is there in a wonderful harbor there for some weeks.
We're taking one turn around inside the Mediterranean Ocean.
Yeah. We're going to sail back to Greece. And in my mind, if the weather is with us, we're going to maybe bring some good friends. And then sailing from Gibraltar to Mallorca, back to Mallorca, where we have spent a lot of time. And then to Sardinia, maybe, and go in the eye. If you look at the map, then, so I have the map in my mind. We sail from Mallorca to Sardinia or Corsica. There's a small passage there that we can sail. And then down on the inside of Sicilia, around the Italian boot, the heel of the boot, and to the tip of the boot, and then cross over to Greece and Corfu, and then spend a year around in the Greece archipelago.
So if any of our friends hear or listen to this now, sign up for the trip.
Yeah, it's still possible, you know, and you don't need very much sailing experience. We have some friends that we're going to talk with that already have been on board and sailed with us, so they know how it is and what to expect. But absolutely, yeah. Hi, this is Christer. Thank you for watching and listening to our podcast. We really appreciate that. As you see, we love sharing how you can live the life you truly want, and we also love sharing how we live this every day. You know what changed my life is that I did one thing. I signed up for a strategy call with my first mentor. That was the one thing that changed my life. And that is why we offer you to do exactly the same thing with me and my team as well, because we know that call, those 30 minutes can be the thing that changes your life. So if you go to our website, christerjohnson.com, up in the right corner, you will find a button to click on. Click on that button and book a strategy call with us. It might be the best thing you ever done to change your life. Have a wonderful day. And now back to the podcast. So then using your imagination, and you see how I use my imagination and I actually create the future memories already when I tell you where we're going to sail. I see it in my mind, right? And then we're going to sail to Corfu and then, just wander there. And that is how a dream starts. A dream starts with you using your imagination and accepting an idea that you can do it. Accepting an idea is not a rational thing. It's an emotional thing, right? It's very important. People think to accept an idea, you do that with your rational mind. No, you do it with your emotional mind. You accept it in your heart.
Like, I have no problem seeing us sailing together. For all the places that you mentions now, I have no problem seeing us there. And it's a good thing, because that really confirms that I am in the same imagination like you. We have the same dream. We have the same goal.
And first time when I created that picture in my mind, I sailed alone. Then it was a transition to put you into that too. But I don't want to be alone. It's just my need for freedom, or my urge for freedom, that says, well, leave everything behind. But I know I want. And you know that.
Actually, when we started the trip and we sailed out from our hometown, I have the video from that trip, and it was not just you and me.
No,
it was also my son, Thomas.
Thomas was with us too, and we sailed
we were 3 people.
We were 3 people. Yeah. Okay. So, the point is we create it, and when we create it in our mind, we do it in the now. Time doesn't exist in our imagination, and that's fun. Time and distance, when you go into quantum physics, that I really like to mention, and then when you move things, and we cannot do that as human beings within the physical laws that we say are relevant now or are valid now, but when you move particles, and they do that in Switzerland in the CERN accelerator, and that is 26 kilometers long, and when they speed up particles to the speed of light, and speed of light that's the speed of energy, right? That is the speed of our thoughts as well. It just is. Then time and distance doesn't exist. When they speed up 2 particles and they start at each side of that long tunnel, 26 kilometers, and then when they are at 99.999999999% of the speed of light, then the distance is 4 centimeters. So that is why that is the power of now. We create things in our mind in this second now, and we don't think about time. We just say it's present. I'm so happy and grateful now that I sail around the world in a perfect way for me. It is done. Because creation is now, and we start to create by creating this future dream with our imagination. And then we remember it, right? So memory doesn't go only backwards, it goes forward as well. Because we remember. Elin and I, we can say, if I say to you, let's go to Palma again and sail to Palma, you have a lot of things, thoughts about what we can do. And now we know the harbor there, and we sailed in and out there, and we know how that works. And we know how long time it is from when we expect to come there until we actually enter the harbor, because it's a big bay. And we remember all that, right? I guess one of the future memories we have is that, well, we didn't sail. We sailed outside Ibiza last time, and maybe we say that we will include Ibiza on the tour now. But that is the power of now. It is that when you create that future memory, it is now. It is a reality, right? The same when we dream at night, it is a reality. And then you accept it emotionally, and then it starts to create. And it's all these small things, Steve Jobs said you have to look backwards to connect the dots. And that's absolutely true. When you mention how I have created this long before I started dreaming it, how I have created the freedom, the financial freedom, and then also created my strong curiosity and strong need or will or for life, just to experience this life. But you know how difficult it is to try to control me.
Oh, it's not difficult. It's not possible. That's
And then
okay.
I feel controlled, right? By the environment. So it's like, but that goes also back to me being a choleric, melancholic, and you being a melancholic, choleric, and then we have to work on personalities as well.
Can we say it like this, that to be living the dream, you have to start with the dream, and any goal that you will have in your life also have to start with the dream to be able to reach it? Or
it starts with a thought.
a thought or a dream.
Well, a thought, when you think a thought and you deliberate, I mean, you use your reasoning faculty, actually think. It's not only this mental activity where you react, but when you sit down and we ask a lot of people. We had a seminar last week with our Diamond League, and we mastermind, and then I really took them in depth into their goals, right? And then that is more than mental activity. That is using your reasoning faculty. It is using your imagination to create these pictures, right? Because the thought is like the seed that starts everything, and when we think about it, we use our imagination to see it. So we think in pictures, right? And then what happens when we emotionally accept that idea? I'm going to sail around the world, for using me as an example. Or you, before you and your ex got children, you said we want to have a family, right? And then you created that picture in your family. You ended up with 3 kids. I ended up with 2 kids. We use our imagination, we use our reasoning to say, well, that's cool, that's an idea, and we use our imagination then to emotionalize it. We see it, right? I don't see the sailing, I see us coming to places. Well, I see the sailing as well. So, yeah, it is. That is how it starts. And that changes your self-image, right? I am a sailor. I am sailing around the world. Never underestimate the I am statements. Who you are, it's your self-image that creates it. And then looking backwards, what was actually the first idea? Where did that come from? That's interesting, and but that's more into the analytical side.
So eventually, I think that we just have to tell people, start dreaming.
Yeah.
Because to be able to live the dream, you just have to start dreaming.
Yeah. And maybe that is one of the things that we observe, since we are aware of our imagination and the higher faculties. When you see the kids today, when we have small, wonderful new souls, small, new, wonderful people coming to this earth, and then maybe one of the first things that the school system takes away is the imagination. Stop dreaming, stop daydreaming. But I would say start daydreaming. Of course, the kids has to learn, and they have to learn everything in their rational mind, but then you also have to develop the emotional mind.
So we have a lot of teaching to do to the new grandkid who's coming.
Yeah.
And never to quit your day job is a saying, but actually it should be never to quit your daydream.
Yeah, never quit your daydreaming. But then, daydreaming can also just be to let your thoughts go, let your thoughts go, let your thoughts go. But the interesting thing is that when you accept this... Sorry about that. That was only my alarm saying I had to repeat my goals. So now I take 3 minutes break and repeat my goals. I can do that.
Okay. And I will be talking for 3 minutes.
Yes, you can.
We are finished now anyway, so...
Almost. Let's wrap this up. Okay. So when it's not only futile daydreaming. It is actually to decide, I want to do this. But that comes from a thought, it comes from an idea that you accept emotionally. You do that because you see the pictures in your mind, this I will do. And then you repeat that, and you make that living inside you. And you will notice, and if you wonder if a thing is right or wrong to do, you can just ask yourself this very, very easy and powerful question. Will this take me closer to my goal or not? Right? For me, to make a very simple example, I sold my motorboat, I bought a sailboat, right? If if I wanted to sail around the world, I couldn't have a motorboat. I mean, we hadn't come like a percentage of the way, right? So I saw, and that was like, will this take me closer to my goal or not? And that's a very simple and easy question. The same thing if you want to create your freedom. Will this take me closer to my goal or not? Yes or no? And then that is because then your goal and that idea and that dream, that changes everything. And it's not like boom, it's like step by step by step by step. But at the end, Elin, what is your dream?
What is my dream? Wow. At the end of this episode,
yeah,
I think we will have a new episode just talking about my dream.
Yeah.
Because, I have always dreamt since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I get my head wrapped around everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my imagination is really good.
Yeah, as a melancholic, you have a rich inner world, right? So you are good at thinking. But you intuitively, you are much more aware than me. You know, I have to train myself not to think about what I don't want. But you, one of the things you told me when we met was that, I don't want that, so I'm not thinking about that.
No, but I can remember that from I was very little, that I just, there was something inside of me saying that don't think about this, because if you think about that, that will happen. So I have to focus on this instead. And that's just how I've been all my life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I've done for other maybe great things too, when you can say that me and my ex-husbands, we just decided to sell everything we had and travel for a year, bringing our oldest daughter with us and just leave everything behind and see what happens. And
when I say that to you, let's just sell the house and go. And you say, no.
I don't want to sell this house. No. This is my dream, staying here when I'm older. I want to be here too. Yes. So this is different. Yeah. But just to do that, just to have that dream, that we wanted to do something different. So we just wanted to be free, do something, and be somewhere nice and warm and meet new people and everything. And the imagination was so strong that we just had to make it happen. Yeah,
and that has been very, very important in your life as well. I mean, the whole family's life with Peter, your ex-husband, and your kids, and you have good friends there, and together with the friends, you have a house there. So
and we even got married in Malaysia. We would never have gotten married, you and me, in Malaysia if it wasn't because of that trip so many years ago.
Yeah, we were actually married twice. Our Malaysian friend, and they are Hindus. We are absolutely sure that we got married in the temple when they.
We are not sure about it.
And then we got married at the Norwegian embassy in Kuala Lumpur.
The priest said something and we didn't understand it, so we just
and
said
your friend, he smiled. Mohan smiled, and then whatever. That's another story. That's for another time. Right?
Okay, it will be. So
wonderful.
That's right.
Well, to sum up, living the dream starts with a dream. And that dream starts with a thought. And then you create a dream by using your imagination, and then you use your reasoning faculty, your ability to think, to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And you use your will, which is another higher faculty, to focus on it and keep that thought in your mind. And then you ask yourself the question, will this take me closer to my goal or not?
Yeah.
And the biggest, it's one thing is to have a dream or a wish or a hope, but it's first when you make it a goal. This I will do. When you emotionally accept it in your heart, this is what I'm going to do, then it will start changing your life. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And we wish you all a wonderful week. And feel free to subscribe and to recommend us to others. We love doing this, and we do this all because it's your success. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of To Your Success podcast. Please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. For more information on how Christer's mentoring programs can help you in your own life, visit christerjohnson.com.